Edward here from erviewer.com. I have video number 2 of 3 with this project concerning this location in Antarctica that I was asked to remote view. Again, I was completely blind to the target, to the task. I had no monitor. I did all this session solo. All I was given was a target reference number and some movements to do on my sessions via email, and that's it. I had no other information about it. I had no idea what I was remote viewing. In this session, I did go further into this idea of a network, and I was overwhelmed with these perceptions of corridors and all of these corridors that networked together. And again, in my research after the session, I got my feedback and I started doing some research on this topic. Again, this kind of hollow earth thing, I don't know, it's just not something I was ever really interested in. So I had to go and learn about it. And so the idea is that there is an underground network with possibly a civilization down there. These are the theories that something is down there and it's technologically advanced and all these kinds of things. And also the other part of it that is not so fantastical, but that the Nazis actually put up some bases there in Antarctica before and during World War II, and where they were developing more of their technology and that kind of thing, and that possibly these locations, which I believe are right in the area where the Nazis were doing their whatever they were doing, and so possibly these locations may have been created by them or utilized by them. Who knows? But in this session, again, all these corridors. And they were corridors, they were entranceways, and they were all networking and all these types of things. There was energy in there, there was things going on and technologies in there. There was, again, this kind of remote controlled influence over something, and that there was like some kind of like a central hub in there where this information came back through into this technology, was recording all of this type of data. I had also this idea came through, this perception came through that had the ability to kind of energetically grab onto something and kind of bring it down somehow, which was really bizarre to me. I didn't really know how else to really describe it or what it could even be referenced to, but I did in my research find a reference to that supposedly from Admiral Byrd in a trip that he had taken there in 1947. I don't know if this is true. It may be totally false. I may have even been picking up part of the folklore here, but the idea, or what was in his log apparently, was that his plane going over this area was taken over by remote control and landed, and he met these people down there and all that kind of stuff. I have no idea if that's true or not, but it kind of correlated with my remote viewing session. Again, I'm not saying any of it's true. I have no idea. But it was interesting. It was a really fun session. It was a fascinating experience for me. The perceptual part of it was was really good for me. So I enjoyed the session, and we got one more to come. This is number 2. Again, the movements that I was asked to do was to explore some aspects that I had picked up on the first one, to go into the communication part of it, and also to further explorations of the area. And so I hope you enjoy this session, and more to come. Six 6633950. A curving across, sloping up, over, angle across, and curving. Hard, smooth, be man-made. Six 633 9950. A. Curving under. Looping. Curving. Sloping up. Energetic. Energetic. Man-made. Stage 2 is warm, hot. I'm getting an AOL here of melting. Let's get back here. Silver, smooth, warm, outside, inside, above, around, flat, pointed, curved, red, green, angular, flat, dense, moving, hot, warm, green, dense, flat, and hot. Warm. AI coming through. Pleasant. Like, I want to go in there. I want to go in there. Like, there's a pathway or corridor. Pathway or corridor. Let me try to. corridor runs through it. Corridor. Surrounded by these lines. I feel like I'm navigating through it. I'm navigating through it. Feels tight. These four sensory dimensions: AI, tangible, intangible, AOL. AOLs are the signal. Like, how do I describe this? I'm calling it a corridor. Like a corridor, what's another way? Actually, I'm gonna stage 5 this right now. Corridor. Subjects. Emanations. Subjects. Design. Design. What else? What put corridor together? Design. Blueprint. Design, blueprint. What else? Subject, corridor. What corridor? A route. Pathway. A pathway. A circuit. A bus, like in a computer. A circuit, a pathway, a corridor, like a square. Actually, a little like rectangle. I'll read rectangular, rectangular, vertical, vertical, up, corridor, narrow pathway. What else though? What corridor means a throughway. A throughway. A corridor. From one end to the other. From one end to the other. Like a vein. Like a vein. Carrier. Carrier. Carrying something through. Carrying something through. Carrying something through. Carrying something through. Stage 4.5 that. Carrying something through. Carrying something through. Energetic. Carrying something through. Blue. White, warm. Hot, electric. What's it carrying through? I'm getting this kind of carrying through bits. Bits carrying through. Transferring. Transferring. Carrier wave. Carrier wave. Carrier wave. Carrier wave. I think that's a sine wave, but a wave pattern. A wave pattern. Code. A wave pattern. Again, this idea of symbolism. Pattern, let me stage 4.5 this. The pattern or slash carrier wave moves through the corridor. That's what's moving through the corridor. That's the communication. Well, that's part of the communication. That's part of the communication. That is the communication. There's a communication going through the corridor. There's a communication going through the corridor. Sensory dimensions, AI, EI, tangible, intangible, AOL of the signal. Device. Device. Let me get some spatial on this. From 20 feet above the device, something should be perceivable. Move back 20 feet. Move back 20 feet. Move back 20 feet. Something should be perceivable. Move back 20 feet. Like these. I'm going to stage 4.5 this. I feel these things when I run my hand over it. These things are sticking up. Sticking up. Sticking up. Man-made. Getting this, like the corridors move through here. Corridors move through here. network. Fast moving stream through the corridor. Through the corridors. Prickly, stingy. Let me stage 4.5 this. I feel like I'm getting little shocks to my fingertips. Little shocks on my fingertips. Sensory dimensions, AI, tangible, intangible, AOL. Shocks on my fingertips. Do a movement here. Let's see. Move to the communication aspect of the target and describe and sketch. Prickly, small shocks of electricity, pulsing, rhythmic, rhythmic, it's rhythmic pulsing. Running. Not human running. Running it's on. Turned on. Turned on. Stage 4.5, this. If I move my hand close, I can feel the electricity. And tingling shocks. Move to the communication aspect and describe. Emanating, but there's more to it than emanating. This is where the tingling. Move to the communication aspect of the target and describe. There is some type of storage. I'm getting this idea like through the corridor goes to a storage thing. Stage 4.5, that. Through the corridor goes to a storage. Like and fills this with information. It fills it with what? It's plugging in. This is the corridor. Plugs in. Moving fast. This feels like it's emanating as well. Bright. What about the communication is important then? Communication. What type of communication? Let me do a movement on that. What type of communication? What type of communication? This idea of data transfer. Now, what type of communication? What is the communication for? What are the forms of communication? What is the idea of the communication? What is the nature of the communication? Why? Why is it? Why communicate? Communicate what? What type of communication? Communicate what? Communicate what? Communicate what? What is this? I'm getting the idea of nature. Communicate what? Nature? What does that mean, nature? Communicate nature. Natural codes. What does that mean? Nature. Building blocks. Communicate what? What does it have to do with this? What type of communication? Communicate what? Communicate what? Communicate what? What's in here? What's coming through here? Communicate what? Like, some kind of a natural code or code of nature. Natural code or code of nature. A natural code. nature. Communicate what? Communicating with nature. Communicating with nature. Communicating with biological. Let's read the dimensions. AI, tangible, intangible, AOL of this. So communicate with biological. Communicate with biological. Communicate on a biological code. Communicate on a biological code. Communicate. So I'm getting nature here. Like a scanning. X-ray. prickly and tingly. Feels like a pull. I feel like something's being pulled. Pulled in. It's the AOL of this. Well, I'm gonna stage 4 and I have this like wait. Pulling in, feeding back, feeding back. I'm getting this AOL, the signal here. It's like a bandwidth lasso. How would you spell that? A lasso. Wraps around something. This works. Like a bandwidth lasso. It retrieves its signal. That's kind of like it retrieves its own signal. Goes out, wraps, and then comes back. Right, that stage 4 and I have that. It goes out, wraps, then comes back. Something like that. Something like that. Communication. That's part of the communication. There's something I'm missing though. something I'm missing. What am I missing? I'm getting this idea of moisture. It's like an idea, or conductivity. Utilizing moisture. In the air. Utilizing moisture in the air. Utilizing moisture in the air as a conductive thing. Like, and I'm getting this like AOL, the signal here of electricity moving through water. Crackling. Why? For what? For what? What's the purpose? What's the purpose? What's the purpose? What's the purpose? I mean, it's AOL downtown. That word just popped into my mind. What is the purpose? What's the purpose of it? You know, communication. What's the purpose of that? Why is this even there? What's the purpose of it? What's the purpose of it? And I'm getting this maybe from the downtown thing, but I'm getting comfort. That may be part of the downtown AOL. What's the purpose? What's the purpose? What's the purpose of it? Why does it even exist? Why does it exist? This something about codes of nature. Something about codes of nature, blocks, building blocks. Building blocks, what is it? Three dimensions, you will the signal. What is it? What's the purpose? What is the, why does it exist? Why does it exist? Why does it exist? I mean, again, just communication. feedback, tunneling, smoothing. Keep it coming. What else? Why does it exist? Why does it exist? Communication, feedback, tunneling, smoothing. Why does it exist? Cutting through. Cutting through. Pathway. What else? Why does it exist? Why does it exist? I had this thing of dropping. Like it's cutting in or through, cutting through. Cutting through. Is this to cut through? Why does it exist? Why does it exist? Alright, I'm about out here. I'm going to go ahead and end this. 5:13. Wow, exactly 1 hour.